Not live and not on couches. It's Jarrett and Zach with Casual Couch Critics, talking movie news, movie speculation, and just movies in general. Let's go.
It was close. I think we need a few more reps. You maybe had like 2 more seconds of music there, but
True.
It was good. It was a good intro. It got me hyped.
I think that was the best intro yet.
Well, seeing as we don't really have an intro and they're arguably the worst part of our show, I think that was the best.
That's what they tell you when you make like content. Make sure the first 30 seconds is really bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we've done.
That's what we do. Shout out 10 subscribers now. One more than last.
We keep growing each week.
Yeah. We're heroes.
It's true. Well, welcome everyone to another week of Triple C. I'm Jarrett. That's Zach. As mentioned in the opening, we are non-professional people just talking about movies because that's what we do to hang out. And it's not serious at all. And just fun.
Well, would you say it's casual?
Yeah.
Casual.
We're not on couches, as Zach also mentioned.
One of these days, we'll get the production budget for couches.
That would be nice if we could get a Lazy Boy sponsor.
Some even some thrift store couches or something.
That's true.
Yeah.
Welcome to another week, Zach. How are you?
I'm so good, man. Dude, I'm excited. I feel like we missed last week. I know we were off of various reasons, but a lot's happened and a lot's going to happen.
Yep. Yeah, we got a lot of things upcoming. We're going to touch on a few of them this week. Any regrets or backtracking on your picks for 2024? Your bomb, your bust, your box office blockbuster hit?
No, I the only thing, and you challenged me on it during the episode, is saying Gladiator 2 was my sleeper. Probably the more I think about it, that's going to be a juggernaut. So, but we're going to say it's like a stealth juggernaut.
If they could be stealthy, yes.
Yeah.
I saw they just rebranded Beetlejuice 2, which was my sleeper, as Beetlejuice, which... Just saying, the branding is going. I'm feeling good about that. I'm feeling good about my picks. I'm standing fast.
Okay.
But yeah, check out last week's episode if you haven't. And we got some things to talk about. So we should just dive right in. Bonus features opening segment. We would be remiss if we didn't start with the passing of Carl Weathers. He passed away, I think it was announced just yesterday, February 2nd, at the age of 76. Great actor, former NFL player, and definitely involved in a lot of the worlds that we are interested in, Zach. Probably most famous for Apollo Creed and the Rocky movies, which I have a lot of personal connections to with my family. Happy Gilmore. And maybe more notably over the past 5 years or so in The Mandalorian. And even actually leading up to the Super Bowl, he's been in a lot of commercials with Rob Gronkowski. So definitely beloved actor who's no longer with us, but left an incredible legacy for sure.
Absolutely. And I think my first memory of him myself was Happy Gilmore because I didn't watch the Rocky movies as a kid. But last summer, if you remember, me and my dad actually watched every Rocky movie like I think in the span of a week and a half. And that's where I really found oh man, this guy was a talented actor from a young age all the way up into, his passing. And definitely when someone like him passes, it's just sort of reminds you of humanity. but you're thankful for all the work he put in, all of the directors and writers and people that he had to interact with, co-actors. And yeah, just absolutely want to celebrate his life. Mandalorian, he was awesome. I'm not going to say I am an expert on his career, but anything he was in that I remember was memorable, and he was very talented at it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think like obviously Apollo Creed, one of the most famous characters of all time, but if he wasn't so iconic, even though he passed away in the Rocky series, like his character wise, like the Creed series wouldn't exist without how good of a character he was. For Michael B. Jordan to kind of take up the mantle of playing his character's son, which has now gone on to have 3 movies, all of which I do enjoy, but that's because of Carl Weathers and his performance in the first 4 Rocky movies specifically. So rest in peace.
Absolutely. Sure. And I'll just add, I think as I think about him, even just talking to you right now about it, think of him in the Rocky movies, him like in anything like comedy, in like sci-fi Mandalorian. He had a pretty prominent like side character role in Arrested Development, which is a really funny show. He just is one of those people that was so adaptable on camera that anytime he was with another actor, he just seemed to elevate everyone's performance around him. He was one of those actors for sure.
For sure. Like I said, we're not experts, but we are fans, so we just wanted to do a quick memorial in that sense.
Absolutely.
And it kind of bleeds into something that, Zach, we didn't get to touch on when we were on Christmas vacation, but the impact of his death will definitely be felt in the direction Star Wars is going. Lucasfilm announced last month that there's going to be a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, as well as Rey Skywalker follow-up movie as well. Going to be interested to see in general how these. I found these announcements surprising. One, because I know recently Disney kind of announced they were pulling back and reevaluating a lot of their strategy in terms of Marvel and Star Wars, particularly, since things haven't been going well for them on that front. And I just know like Book of Boba Fett wasn't that well received. The Mandalorian season 3 had its ups and downs. People kind of were confused, I think, that it was no longer about Mando and Grogu, more about Mandalorians as a whole. It kind of just felt like an abrupt transition. And this is supposed to, I guess, bridge and be like a multiverse, although it's like one galaxy far, far away, but like bringing like Ahsoka together and Thrawn with what they're doing in that show into one movie. Obviously, Carl Weathers, I would assume would have been at least in a scene of that movie, but there haven't been any official dates for these next coming movies, but I do know like they have a slate booked for next Christmas 2025. And so I'm imagining either the Rey Skywalker one or the Mandalorian one will be at least in that slot. And then I'm assuming the next one, 2026. We've been on record, first very episode, we are a pro Filoni show.
Yep.
Very much so. But definitely, I'm skeptical.
I just want a Star Wars movie that I get excited about and I want more. Right? I haven't had that in a long time with Star Wars of like, oh man, like, what's going to happen next? Or like, oh, give me more. Like, I want to explore the galaxy far, far away even more. And I just, that's what I'm hoping for any of these. I'm not one of those people that believes, the Rey Skywalker thing. Okay, it doesn't get me excited. I'm still gonna see it.
Yeah.
And I hope it's the greatest movie ever. But and I think honestly they could announce any Star Wars project right now, and I would have the same reaction of like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, but I don't know if I'm excited because I don't trust the current direction of Lucasfilm right now, and I think that's that's just sort of the reality of the brand of Star Wars right now. Anything that's new coming out, so I'm hoping to have a fun Star Wars adventure, even if it's with new characters or with characters that we've already been introduced to. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I think my skepticism for this largely comes from the past decade specifically. Star Wars movies have been announced plenty, trilogies, spin-offs, all sorts of things, and they just don't happen. That's just like a known trait of their movie announcements.
Squadron.
Yeah, the Rogue Squadron one. There was an Old Republic trilogy.
Right.
There was a Rian Johnson trilogy. I don't know if that was the same one, but obviously with The Last Jedi Backlash, he was like, "Oh, I don't have to deal with this anymore." I don't blame him for taking that. Yeah, I think the Old Republic was either him or, and I know they originally hired the Game of Thrones writers to do a series of movies. That didn't happen. It's been a rocky road for sure. So, I mean, excited, but if they also don't do it well, I don't know what that means for the future of Star Wars, and we can probably talk about that more as time goes on. But if not executed properly, I think it could be a long time before we see Star Wars on the big screen again after that.
It's true.
So
and you wonder if maybe they I was talking to a friend who's a huge Star Wars fan, and he had an interesting idea. He was like, you know what? I'd actually like to see them just focus more on like Star Wars comics and video games, and then like similar to where okay, the original trilogy came out, and it was a long time before we got the prequel trilogy. And then there was a lot of awesome Star Wars, video games and like the Clone Wars TV shows. And then we got the sequel trilogy. And going back to that Force Awakens, I do remember feeling the genuine joy and excitement to see that movie, right? And just be like, man, Star Wars is back on the big screen.
Without me.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. But like, I would love it if he made a really good point though of getting fans excited is probably should be a top priority of Lucasfilms. And so waiting to make sure you have a quality movie for fans to get hyped about, it's worth the wait. It's worth the wait. And he said, focus on smaller stories, focus on video games and comics. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad direction for Lucasfilm to go with Star Wars.
No, well, we'll have to wait and see. I think a big issue with the comic stuff is when Disney acquired it, they decanonized everything to make their own stuff. So it'd be backtracking a little bit, but I don't disagree. Anyway, those who listened to last week's episode might have heard a lot more discussion than they were expecting about a series that we hold in high regard at CCC here. That's Sonic the Hedgehog. Zach, we previewed this a little bit next December, I think he said. It was just announced Jim Carrey will not, in fact, be retiring, or at least will be stepping out of retirement to return for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I believe what I said last episode was definitely carried the first one, elevated the second one.
Yep.
It can only be a positive that he is coming back for Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
That's got to be one of those moments when you're an executive at Paramount and they're in a meeting, and someone calls in or texts the boardroom being like, Carrie's coming back. That's like everybody's like, get the champagne, celebrate, turn on the music, do a happy dance. Because he's a fantastic actor. Him in this Dr. Eggman quirky role is just perfect casting, even though originally I didn't think it was going to be perfect casting for the first one. But no, he's so fun. I really do love these movies. I know you love them. We have this special connection to this franchise. And this movie, it's going to have Shadow the Hedgehog. It's going to have Sonic, Knuckles. Rumors have it that Amy Rose might make an appearance in this one. We know Tails is going to be there. I'm ready for this. I think this could be really fun. I'm excited to see more Knuckles and Sonic and Tails taking on Dr. Eggman. And there's so many weird storylines with Shadow the Hedgehog specifically. I don't know how they're going to go. But I'm here for it.
Yeah, I am curious because obviously the first movie, Jim Carrey very much just looked like Jim Carrey, which I didn't think was an issue because they kind of worked that into the story, how he kind of becomes a bit more zanier in the second one. But like, does he get fat in this one? Does he wear fat suit?
Yeah.
Do we just slowly transfer into like 90s Dr. Eggman, Jim Carrey? Is the world ready for that?
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Are you worried about character bloat in this movie?
That's a legit concern. I think I'd like to see them a little bit longer. These movies have not been overly long films, which I think has worked for them. This one, I wouldn't mind it. I feel like when you have two solid installments of a film franchise, you've earned the right to make your third one, 10, 20 minutes longer. And with having the extra characters in there to give everyone their their screen time to shine, I think it'll be important.
Yeah, I think scale is probably the issue that I can see, because the first one very localized.
Yeah.
I only really like the series because of our relationship with it, but like the first one, again, very local setting. Second one even isn't really that more expansive, just a little bit because of the portal element to it. I think with all those characters, we gotta branch out. We gotta give space. But anyway.
You know what I'm concerned about is the Chaos Emeralds in the game make a lot of sense because it's a thing you have to collect to get like Sonic or any of his friends to like power up, right? I don't know, like if this is going to be another movie of like, all right, go here, collect this, like a fetch quest, as they say in a movie. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it in the movie. If the Chaos Emeralds are part of it, which they're kind of have to be because Shadow's involved, but I'm hoping they don't make it like in the first 5 minutes, Sonic finds out from his friends like, Sonic, we got to get the Chaos Emeralds before Shadow does, and then they like get a bunch of them. Then Shadow gets one, and then at the very end, Shadow somehow gets them all, and then they like. I just don't want to see that, right? I'm okay if they're part of it, but if it's just them going around finding the Chaos Emeralds, I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for that.
Well, there's one positive, which is Jim Carrey is in the movie, and that's all we know so far. And people probably didn't expect that this podcast would be so dedicated to Sonic the Hedgehog, but hey, buckle in. Last thing I want to touch on the bonus features. Some of you may have noticed if you're watching on YouTube, or maybe you've heard of us chat before, we're a bit of football fans.
Yeah.
You might not be able to notice, especially in Zach's background. Super Bowl's coming up. Yeah. Thought we'd just quickly touch on, piggybacking off of our preview episode. Next week is the Super Bowl, next Sunday. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be trailers aplenty, we think. Because I think we did discuss this, is that due to the writer's strike, due to the actor's strike, hasn't been a lot of promotion for good reason of films, and it's only really started to come out in recent weeks for moving movies schedule release dates back up and promotion materials. In a lot of trailers that you might have expected to see at this point just haven't. And I think we all know that Super Bowl is kind of going to be the time for a lot of them. I mean, we're going to be watching the game, but for sure exciting for the trailers as well.
Yeah, we are definitely football fans that care more about the game than the commercials. However, commercials, we're not complaining about it, right? Especially to movie trailers. Yeah.
Yeah, they add to the event that is the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And do you want me to share that article?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we're bringing this up here, and this is again from USA Today for the win. 15 movie trailers that could drop during the 2024 Super Bowl. So we're gonna go through it here, and Jarrett, I want you to tell me on a scale of 0% to 100%, how much you think there's a chance this movie trailer drops during the Super Bowl. So The one they start off with here, Deadpool 3.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. That's the only MCU film this year. They need to hype it up. Yeah, I agree. Dune Part 2. We just had a trailer from them.
There'll be one, I think, but it's already got one, so I don't know if it counts.
But I'm asking, do you think it's going to be a trailer during the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I think it has to. It's coming up so close in March.
Yeah.
And they, Warner Brothers wants this movie to do well, right?
Yep.
If nothing else, it's going to be like Zendaya, and what's this guy's name again? I'm forgetting.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet. Just them hanging out, talking about the movie, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, this is where I feel like it's not necessarily 100%.
You don't think it's gonna be 100%?
You think it's 100%?
Yeah, I do.
When's this movie come out?
Middle March.
Okay. Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah, you're right.
Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. Roadhouse.
Oh, this is tough. We haven't touched this one, but the director is boycotting all promotion events for this movie because I think there was some dispute between him and Amazon that he thought it was going to get released in theaters, but they're just releasing it direct to streaming. So I might say 50-50 on this one because I have no idea.
Interesting. Huh. So yeah, I guess that's how much money does Amazon want to spend. I'm gonna go. Thank you for the context. I'm gonna go like 10% chance. I don't have faith.
All right.
Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire.
Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I hate that title. There hasn't been a lot of promotion of this movie.
It really hasn't, no.
But Ghostbusters is fun enough that they could work that into even like a commercial spot. It doesn't have to be a trailer. So 50-50 for me.
I'm more up. I'm gonna go 75% chance.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, Godzilla versus Kong: The New Empire. We got a trailer for them a couple months ago. I personally think this is 100%. I think we see.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I want to see more than just like Godzilla awkwardly running.
I want to see more of it.
The Fall Guy.
I don't. Well, I mean, so it's got Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Both are nominated for Oscars, which we'll get into in a few minutes.
Big stars, yeah.
So they might want to piggyback off that. David Leitch, up and coming action director, seems to be getting everything. 60-40 for me.
Okay. Yeah, like 60% chance it's going to get one?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm 50-50 on that one. Yeah. Kingdom of the Planets of the Apes. We've only got a teaser for this.
Yeah, we only got a teaser, so I think this is going to be like one of the full-length ones.
Yeah.
I do.
I think this will be the true launch of like this movie's like major marketing campaign.
Yep.
If
no.
Yeah, no. I'm saying maybe Ryan Reynolds calls someone and makes it happen, but I think it's 1% chance.
No, I think Ryan Reynolds, even though John Krasinski made this movie, I think Ryan Reynolds, since we know he kind of holds a lot of power on the movies he makes, I think it'll all be Deadpool. I don't think he's gonna split the attention from that at all.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. For Furiosa, a Mad Max.
Furiosa, that was my blockbuster pick, I believe.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Okay. Inside Out 2.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm gonna say 100% on this one, and here's my reason why. Disney did not have a good year at the box office last year. This year they don't have as many films this year, but they need some hits, right? Inside Out, the first one, is beloved by a lot of people. Building the hype around this movie is so important for them.
All right, you made me. I'll say 75.
Okay, cool.
You made me up it though.
Okay, I appreciate that. A Quiet Place, day one.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't see.
I don't think it will. I think it's a bit too small.
Yeah. And people who love this franchise, I feel like they don't need as much of a marketing budget for it, because like it's gonna have you're gonna have a hard time attracting new people to watch this movie, right? If you haven't already seen the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay. This I'm really interested on your opinion of, because again, this is one of the most interesting films of the year. Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, both coming out this summer.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. I think Warner Brothers is going to push a few other ones. This one isn't coming out till a bit later.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna put it at like 17% chance it does. And my only reason is this movie is a risk, mainly by Kevin Costner, all the money he's put into it. And if there's a chance that they, are like, you know what, we want to start advertising this, these two movies that are coming out kind of back to back, which again, if this is a successful strategy for Horizon, we might, like, this is potentially something we see more of in the future, depending on how it goes. So getting some Super Bowl advertising in there is not a bad idea. Despicable Me 4. Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah. Okay, that's the last of these 15. Any others that you hope to see a trailer for during the Super Bowl this year?
I could see Sony pushing like a Venom 3 teaser.
Maybe, yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot there. Those were like the big heavy hitters, I think, that we went through, at least for the next 6 months, the first half of the year.
I wish we would see a Gladiator 2 trailer, but it's too soon for that.
It could a teaser.
Maybe teaser.
Like the Mufasa one could get a teaser.
Yeah.
Like it's also like there's only a handful of full trailers. Like I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will get a full trailer.
Yeah.
But it's a big teaser.
Yeah.
Super Bowl's a big teaser event as well. So I could see it.
Yeah. Maybe even like something like a musical like Wicked might get a teaser in there.
Hopefully not, because that's my bomb. So
and remember how it's my did I say it's my dark horse? Yeah.
Yeah, because you're crazy.
I know, right? No, I'm telling you, the musical theater nerds, they're gonna go support that movie. Anyway. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. The game and the commercials.
Game and the commercials, specifically the trailers.
Yes, specifically the trailers. So yeah, I guess we'll have time to debrief that in future episodes. Wanted to touch on as our feature presentation today. Oscar nominations came out a couple weeks ago. I am a big Oscars guy. Zach is a bit less. That he follows along.
Call me a passive Oscars fan. Yes.
Yes. I would say, I got into the Oscars 10, 12 years ago, and I was pretty young. I'd watch it with my friends. I've had Oscar parties. I'm kind of shied away from the award show aspect of it now. I kind of just follow along with my phone. Just a bit too much Hollywood self-glamorization. And I could go on and on about what's wrong with the ceremony, but you can listen to other movie podcasts about that. We're going to keep it casual here.
Keeping it casual.
However, what I do every year when the nominations come out is I get a checklist. I make myself a checklist and I try to see what I've already seen, and then I try to just as like a fun personal thing, I try to see how many I can get done before the ceremony, which I believe this year is the second weekend of March. I think it's the 10th. So just want to quickly go through the nominations for the categories as a whole and just my thoughts and Zach's if Zach has any. And because obviously it's the biggest award for movies, the Academy, so we'd be remiss not to mention it. But like I said, I will not be actually watching the ceremony anymore. I stopped last year and I felt a lot better about myself. So, however, I do tend to get a lot of the predictions right. I'm not gonna go into that. I mean, I might reveal some thoughts as we go through.
Let's see it. Yeah, come on. Let's see it.
I haven't also watched. I mean, I still got like a month. So
okay, fair.
I got some movies to go before I can fully, commit. I mean, but I guess for a good podcast, I should.
And the internet's gonna keep you accountable.
I know it's true. Oppenheimer, obviously leading in. I think they have 11 nominations. It looks to be Chris Nolan's year. He has yet to win an Oscar. Our part of the biggest event of the year, Barbenheimer. Barbie has tons of nominations as well. I will say, just as in case we get feedback, there was a bunch of backlash. Margot Robbie not getting nominated. Greta Gerwig, the director, not getting nominated. Margot Robbie's fine. She is a producer on the movie. She's made 1.4 billion. The movie made $1.4 billion. She's okay.
Yeah.
And I don't actually think it was her best performance. She should have been nominated. Maybe. I think Greta Gerwig was more of a snub than Margot Robbie. But let me know, they're okay. they're making billions of dollars off this movie. So that's all I'll say about that. I do think Oppenheimer is in the front seat to win, though. I think it's Chris Nolan's time, and if we want to kind of dive deep into how the Academy works, is they don't necessarily give Oscars for your best. They give it when they feel you're due. If you haven't been recognized yet. So, for instance, Killers of the Flower Moon, I love that movie. Martin Scorsese, he only has one Oscar. As prolific of a director,
really,
like it just, that's just how it goes in Hollywood. So because Chris Nolan doesn't have one, I think this will be his year for Best Picture. Dark Horses, man, it's tough to say. Holdovers, I think, actually has a lot of momentum, and Poor Things potentially as well. Past Lives could sneak up on some people, but I do think Oppenheimer has this one secured. But the one thing I know is that the Academy tends to make a mess of itself. So that's just the Best Picture. Again, director's a loaded category this year. Martin Scorsese, Yorgos Lanthimos, Jonathan Glazer, Justine Triet. I think Chris Nolan gets his Best Director as well for Oppenheimer. And we're just looking at the nominations and predictions by Variety Magazine here on our live stream, and you can see I'm not just saying it because they've started. I do actually believe it's due. Leading actor, again, loaded year in part. I think there's a lot of post-COVID movies all coming out at once. Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, Jeffrey Wright, like absolutely crazy. Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy, I think, are neck and neck, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think it's a given. One has the edge over the other. I feel for Bradley Cooper because, for Maestro, and just like he did with A Star Is Born, he's pouring everything he had. He's directing, he's producing, he's starring, he's doing all this transformation, like 7 months of conducting research or whatever the rumors are. And he's so desperate for this Oscar. He's been very public about that. And personally, my opinion is that 50 years from now, there'll be a movie that comes out about Bradley Cooper, and that person will win the Oscar for portraying Bradley Cooper, and he will not have an Oscar.
That's a hot take. Okay.
It almost just feels like he's trying so hard that the Academy just, he's good at what he does, but I don't know. I think Cillian Murphy would be awesome as a longtime fan, but Paul Giamatti's been around for years, and like I said, people think he's due. He might get it, but I think it's neck and neck, in my personal opinion, for that role. Actress in a leading role: Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, Emma Stone. I think for a long time people thought Lily Gladstone was the runaway. I do think Emma Stone could get her second Oscar.
Yeah.
I think this one isn't just the shoe-in like people think. Although it would be cool to see Lily Gladstone win for sure, just of her heritage and not being recognized at the Academy very often. So, but I think it's between those two as well. I don't think any of the other three are even close. Supporting actor, again, just absolutely loaded. Sterling Brown, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, and Mark Ruffalo. I think a lot of the controversy over Margot Robbie not getting directed, and we'll get into supporting actress as well in a minute, but it's because like Ken got nominated and not Barbie.
Yeah.
But I think we can talk about I actually think like the whole point of the Barbie messaging in movie was that like the intersectionality that they talk about. Ken World, where it's all men. I believe he is going to take it. And I actually think like best here is his time, and that'd be cool.
That's fair.
Actress in a supporting role. You good?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Are you good? Oh, I did lose you there for a sec. Oh.
Thank you. Okay. Well, Zach.
And
we're back. There's weather events going on that our recording might not be the best, but anyway, supporting actress Emily Blunt, Daniel Brooks, America Ferrera, which this was the one most people were a bit, I don't know, unnecessarily outraged about. You don't need to take these too personal, people. Jodie Foster and Davine Joy Randolph. Davine Joy Randolph has just swept every single award. Although I've heard and read stuff that Emily Blunt could be a dark horse, but okay. I think this is hers. Original screenplay. Again, just loaded. Holdovers, Anatomy of a Fall, Maestro, May December, Past Lives. This one, they usually give it to the director who won't be winning Best Picture, or in the top one. So I think that's why they're favoriting Anatomy of a Fall here, but I could see Past Lives also possible. Barbie doesn't actually get an Oscar win, however unlikely that is. Adapted screenplay, I think they'll give that to Oppenheimer, although American Fiction, Zone of Interest, also possible. Animated feature, I actually think this one is really interesting. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I think a lot of Western audiences think that this is a lock, but Hayao Miyazaki, The Boy and the Heron, that could be his last film. He's won multiple Oscars before. They could give him one more. I think it's between that and Spider-Verse for sure.
The Boy and the Heron is interesting. It literally just got re-released at my local movie theater. Oh.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yep.
Whatever. We'll power through. Production design, loaded categories across the board, as I keep saying. I think it's between Poor Things and Barbie.
Yeah.
And again, if Poor Things keeps edging out Barbie, then Barbie might come away winless, which will just increase the outrage. Cinematography, I think Oppenheimer's going to take this one. I don't think this one's close, although if there was a dark horse, probably Killers of the Flower Moon. Costume design, I can see Poor Things taking this one as well. I don't think Barbie's costumes were. I don't think it's going to be in that range. I think if there was a second one, it might be Oppenheimer. Film editing, I'm just going to skip this one entirely because it means absolutely nothing. And the one Oscar that I think Maestro will win is makeup and hairstyling. I do think the aging. If you look at the past 5 years of winners of this, it's all been movies that have to do with aging up an actor. So
right.
I think this will be Maestro's sole win. Sound, I think this one is a lot actually easier to tell now that they've kind of combined the sound into one, and I think Oppenheimer's got it.
I am glad to see the creator not there though, because the creator sounded amazing.
So we'll get to the creator because I do think it will win. And we'll get to it right now. I think the creator will be winning Best Visual Effects this year.
Really interesting. I can see it.
You know, I do. I'm glad Godzilla Minus One got a nod. Obviously, what it did on $15 million is incredible. But what people also don't talk about is the creator had like an $80 million budget, and it looked crazy good. So I can see the creator taking this one, which personally I would love.
I'm go creator.
Original score. I could see this being Killers of the Flower.
Yeah.
Original song. This could be where Barbie gets its one win. However, I think I don't think I'm Just Ken will be the winner. I think the Billie Eilish "What Was I Made For" would be the winner. However, I wouldn't discount "It Never Went Away." I wouldn't discount "The Fire Inside," and I wouldn't discount "Colors of the Flower Moon." I think this one's a lot closer, except for "I'm Just Ken," honestly, than people may realize. I haven't actually seen any of the documentaries yet. I want to. I can't comment on that right now. Although 20 Days in Mariupol, I will say I do know what it's about. Being with the war going on in Ukraine, and Variety here has it as the favorite. Even without watching it, if that's what the content's actually about, I could see that, and it's an honest depiction of what's going on. I could see that taking it. International feature, Zone of Interest is for sure, but far and away the favorite. I don't think any of the other ones will come close. Animated short. I just watched 95 Senses, which you can see if you just type it in on Google, or it might be on YouTube. It's by Jerusha Hess and Jarrett Hess are actually the people that made Napoleon Dynamite, and this is like a very sensitive, short about a guy in prison at the end of his life, like he's going to be death penalty, just reflecting it. It was crazy, phenomenal. It's very impressed by that pivot. Doc short, I watched The Last Repair Shop. This is on YouTube. It's phenomenal. About the last repair shop left in LA that can repair instruments for children who rent them out for school programs. So yeah, it's great. Live action short, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. I think this will be Wes Anderson's first Oscar. And interesting that it will come in a short. But I mean, it has all the Wes Anderson elements people love, just in a 35-minute thing that you can watch on Netflix. It's very good. I will say my favorite's probably Night of Fortune, which you can see on YouTube, I believe. But I think like I said, Wes Anderson's due, and that's that. So that's cool. All that to say, I'm looking forward to the Oscars. I think it's going to be a lot of Oppenheimer, but I think if I had to take anything away, creator, I actually really want to get VFX. Mm-hmm. And I think it could be really cool to see Robert Downey Jr., for his tumultuous life and kind of turning it around the past 15 years or so to get that Oscar. I think it's well deserved, and it's cool to see. Like, he took a break from Iron Man, obviously. Yeah. Got pulled into this epic movie, and he just owned kind of being the antagonist to Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. So anyway, that's my completely casual thoughts on the Oscars. So casual.
So Jarrett, casual. I really enjoyed just hearing you talk about, the different categories and perspectives, and you know what, you got me a little more interested in the Oscars this year. So I'm going to be paying attention, and it was cool to hear your breakdown of it. I from a lot of the movies that were listed, it seems like people are looking for a reason to snub Barbie. Like and it's like Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moons, Barbie. Those are kind of like three films that come up a lot in different categories, and so like if any of them don't win anything, I feel like that's going to be the headline of like biggest snub.
No, 100%. And I just I could see specifically in like more of the technical categories like production design and costumes, although Barbie did it phenomenally. I think their best bet is production design. I think they did a really good job making like dollhouse like items just real. But I don't know. The Academy likes, even though Poor Things obviously is a work of fiction, they like the old European. They like the style of things. They like the flowy gowns. They like the old architecture. That's what. So I could see that kind of working in that favor. So anyway, all that to say, people will be mad no matter what happens. That's just the way all awards go, right? So
yeah, and I'm kind of here for it. I enjoy watching the chaos,
except for the couchies, which we'll give at the end of the year based on our predictions we made last week. So
yes,
and time will tell if I was. We'll see in a month from now if I was right about any of my thoughts here. But anyway, Zach, pleasure as always.
Always.
We'll be back next week. Got a lot of things. Argyle just opened up.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see that. Madam Web.
We got Madam Web. And then the Super Bowl stuff, and then Dune is just a month away.
I can't believe Dune 2 is, man, if I didn't have the Super Bowl, I would be so like, in terms of my like what I'm most looking forward to of what I get to watch, Dune, or Avatar Netflix series, I guess that's coming up in February, but that and then like Dune Part 2 are like, they're right.
Why not Madam Web?
Why not Madam Web? That's a great question.
It's the first of 3 Sony movies this year. You gotta jump on early. We got a long way to go.
I'm probably going to see Madam Web opening night. That's what scares me.
Yeah, you might be one of 5 people there. But regardless, thanks for joining us this week. We will see you next time on Triple C. Peace out.
Have a good night, everyone. Feel free to comment and subscribe. We're at 10 subscribers. Thank you. Shout out all 10 of you.